This week, Peter gets attacked by a fly. David shamelessly plugs his game. Chloe does her best impression of Wonder Woman, and I somehow get very, very lucky. So let's strap down, strap in, and do this.
This is just another trucking podcast.
Hello, this is Just Another Trucking Podcast. I am your host, Tom, and I am joined, as always, by my good friends, my co-hosts. We have the ever beautiful David. Hello, sir. How the hell are we doing today?
Hello. I'm fantastic.
Are you...
Good to refresh back from my vacation.
That's very good. Was the SpongeBob SquarePants? Well, that was Patrick Star, I think it was. Is that?
Well, no, there was SpongeBob and Patrick.
Oh, was they both? Okay, that's nice. And are you happy with my microphone? Are you going to spend another 10 minutes complaining about like where my microphone is situated? Is it correct?
Could be better, but that's fine. I'll figure. I'll fix. I'll have to fix it in post.
It's fine. Get over yourself. Chloe.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Why didn't I get a beautiful? I was expecting you to say hello to me.
I apologise.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Hello. Just done with your introduction. Right. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah.
Right. Thanks. Yeah.
You're good though.
You, yeah.
Yeah. And
that's
You're
two
welcome.
bleeps for me.
Poor Dave was just sitting there as an editor kind of going, oh my God, that just caused me so many problems. And our guest this week, David, did he manage to get home in time?
Who are you talking to now?
I said David. David, the person I'm talking to.
Home in time for
David.
what?
You, David, yeah? Did he get home in time for the podcast?
What are you chatting about?
Wow, you have ruined this joke.
His name's Pete.
He sat in a lay-by. Yes, I know. I know his name's Pete. I've not introduced him yet.
Yes, you were
I'm
starting
about to introduce him. I'm asking you, David, did our guest get home? And no, the answer is no. He did not get home. He sat in a fucking industrial estate in Stoke.
Well, I would give you a little bit of a heads up if you're going to be talking about that. Because Jesus Christ, this is not my fault. All right?
If all the introductions you could expect. Oh, really?
Pete,
right.
How the hell are you?
Well, I'm alive.
We'll tell you what, we're gonna have to start that again, are we not?
No,
I wasn't planning on starting again.
No, I think Tom.
Oh wow, we're running with that, are we?
Yeah,
Tom,
you're the one.
Yeah,
he's not in my lay-by. We're all
Tom,
good.
fair enough. We're going with that joke. Right. So the joke was there. The fact that our guest hasn't managed to get home. He's currently sat in an industrial estate in Stoke. That's as far as he got before. And do you want to show the people who are actually watching on YouTube where you actually are? See, and we'll see if we get any of them comments of, "Oh, I've delivered there."
So I am. I don't know if you can see that. I am in one of the wonderful industrial estates outside Hanley, which is an area of Stoke, and the reason why I'm here is because I have delivered my children back to their mother, and I was on my way back when somebody very inconveniently couldn't give me a time when the podcast was going to be recorded.
Right,
and then that rubbish introduction. I think it's all a bit squiffy today.
It's not very well planned,
I'm
is it?
doing it on a Sunday rather than a Saturday.
It's definitely a Sunday job, isn't it? But it's not just that. I had a massive tea, and if I'm honest with you, I'm in that kind of like I've got the meat sweats. If I'm honest with you,
so you've got a food coma rather than you being drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's gone wrong.
You are lucky I even made it to my computer. I was going to just sit on the floor and just kind of
You could have just rolled your way up to the computer.
That was
You'd
my
been right that way. Is that what you pretty much did?
If I'm honest, that is what I did. Yeah, that's how we are in this situation right now. I was going to say on that. Do you ever find yourself when you're watching TV and you're watching somewhere and it's like they'll show somewhere, and you'd be like, "Oh, I've
All the
delivered
time.
there."
Yeah.
But there is that kind of thing as a truck driver. You do kind of think, David, you've never done this before.
Well, I've always done it every single time.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
The person you tell is like, I really don't care. I really don't care. It's always someone that does not care.
No, but they can't
Worse, though,
say that.
It gets worse though if you go somewhere with a partner in the car or a friend in the car, and you'll go,
Oh
delivered
yeah.
there, delivered there, delivered there, and you can just see the glaze.
My
coming over
worst
their
one is
eyes as if
driving
to say,
past a
"I
skip
can't
going,
believe
delivered
it."
that one.
Well, I did something similar this week. There's a Tim Hortons where I lived, and we were driving past it, and I pointed out this cabin that I delivered at Picker, and I was like, "Oh, I delivered that." Didn't care at all, not even remotely. Right, Pete. Although you are an absolute all-star, something that we are starting to do. Oh no, wait. We're going to do the YouTube comments first.
Yeah, I think you were.
Absolutely.
I feel like we should have organised this. Oh, right, yeah.
We did try and organise it. You rushed
I'm
us.
going to do...
How rude.
I don't remember. I don't remember what we're talking about. It doesn't seem like something I would do in the
course not.
slightest. So let's go through some.
Tom, before you do that, can I just pick you up on something? Do I still, as this is the third time I've been on the show, do I still rate as a guest, or do I come under the heading of a friend of the show now?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
Where do I stand?
I don't particularly want to.
I know you don't.
You might
have
get your own
friends.
WhatsApp group.
I know you don't have friends, but I'm talking about friends of the show.
We'll have a guest WhatsApp group.
Something like that, yeah. Something like that.
Is that just so we can take the mickey out of Tom's
Pretty much,
intros?
yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, actually, Tom, talking about the intros, last time I was on, you didn't even introduce me. You
That's
never
right.
actually mentioned my name. You completely forgot. I was.
Is that the
nameless
Christmas
for
one
the
where we were
entire
drunk?
Show, so
That
thank
might
you
have
for
been
that
one. Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
That explains that.
We were
That was a
so
bad
drunk
one.
That was that was a messy episode. That was I don't know if we'll be doing that for the 100th episode. We're gonna have to do
I tell you what, if you haven't listened to that episode,
chaos.
you
We all
really
get
must
high.
Go back and listen to it.
It'd be great for
Because it
YouTube,
is.
mind.
Oh,
Just to point out, yeah, it's David. Yeah, it might be illegal in California, not so much here.
Come to California and visit.
It's a good reason for
100th
it. Yeah.
episode,
Yeah,
we
true.
all descend upon David's house. That
sounds like a great
Can
idea.
we do that? That
Yeah,
sounds
I'm
like
up
a
for that.
really good idea. I like that idea. Yeah.
Game on.
Let's go through some YouTube comments. We have so we've got Ben Skinner. This is in reference to. So I think we were talking about. What were we talking about? We were talking about me
Yeah,
going
you
to
had your
America,
truck,
weren't we?
yeah.
I had a truck out there, and Ben Skinner said, "So Tom, did you have the cowboy boots and hat to go with your truck in America?" I didn't know. No, that I think that'd been a bit
Never.
too far. David, how about you? Do you have?
Not cowboy boots, but I do have like a hat. All right, not a truck, the cowboy hat kind of
For
thing.
trucking.
But it's not. It's
Yeah.
it's more like it's more for vacation. But I have the hat. It's just it's a straw hat.
A straw hat. What, do you
Yeah.
even have the piece of grass that goes along with it
Oh,
as well?
absolutely! It
I
comes with it.
reckon-
You're
I
not
reckon
allowed to
it's
wear it
looking like
without.
It's a piece of grass that's rolled into several large Rizzlers by the sounds of things.
But yeah, it's very Californian.
Yeah.
British trucker in Germany says 50 quid to park a truck. Robbery,
Yeah.
that is. Yeah, you're not wrong there. That's in reference to who was it that was saying that? Was it Rena? that
Yeah,
said,
Rena was saying about the prices.
it cost her 50 quid to park a truck and services.
So much for it being a quiet industrial estate.
That is truly ridiculous. Oh, it'd be really fine. What else have we got? Raoul
like-
689. Hello, Raoul. He has said Lisa Kelly has her own YouTube channel. I did.
She
not
does,
know
yeah,
that.
I found her
am
as
gonna
well.
Have to go and subscribe
Yeah.
to that.
Who's that?
So
Yeah,
we were talking about
yeah.
ice road trucking.
Lisa Kelly from the
Yeah.
Ice Road Truckers.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. She's got her own. She has
Yeah,
her own YouTube
she
channel.
does.
Which is pretty amazing.
She's
Yeah.
quite big on it.
And David, you got a comment as well. Oh, actually, I think was it me that got a comment. Was it me that got a comment? I can't remember. About a British trucker going to America.
Oh, right.
Oh, so, what? Someone wanted to move?
What's the actual question?
I can't remember. Did we have it before or not?
It's been a while.
Basically, what's the process? What's the process of going to, like, if you're a British trucker and you want to move out to America? I thought that would be a good question for you.
The only way you can do it is if if you were to do it, you have to be driving in America for at least 1 year before you can even apply for your CDL. Now, I don't know, but basically you have to get sponsored. You'd have to do a bunch of stuff that you probably can't get, but it's much easier if you go to Canada and work for a Canadian trucking company. And I don't know what their specifics are when it comes to how long you have to have your driver's license for before you can get your trucking license. But it'll be much easier for an Englishman to get work in Canada because you guys have a better of a relationship going on.
That's interesting.
Are you saying that the podcast top tip for going to America to drive in America is don't go to Canada?
Yeah.
Is that the official advice that we're giving out? Go to Canada.
Go to Canada.
It's apparently it's better.
That was a question from Steve Wheeler, by the way. So there you go.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, there we go. Your answer is go to Canada.
It's probably nicer.
Why even ask us? Why even ask us at this point? Right, shall we move back on to the question I was about to...
Hold on.
Wait,
now,
go on.
I've got a question for you guys. Now, this isn't a topic or anything, right? Now, what's the difference between the start of the podcast and the end of the podcast? All right, I'll answer for you. There are more listeners at the start than there are at the end. So when we're plugging stuff,
you want to do it now?
I feel like we should kind of plug our merch now before we lose people. All right. So as I can see, you guys have your beautiful trucking podcast stuff. I don't. I'm really sorry. But the only thing that I can do is this.
All right. That's a bit more fancy.
So,
I like it.
So that's as much as I can do.
Like it.
You know, but now.
Yeah, but there's a guy in the way.
Yeah, just sorry.
For them people listening, their trucks. In the background of David's, he's got our logo back there, but he's sat in front of it, so you can't really see it very well.
It looks like he's got a salmon passing through his ears.
It looks smart though.
Yeah, it's like one of them comedy arrows that you get, but it's a salmon instead.
We've just got t-shirts.
But normally Tom, he's constantly wearing a t-shirt that says "Except for Access," his YouTube channel. You know, like, so he's constantly plugging stuff. No, it's not like me to ever want to plug anything, you know what I mean? But
no, just
once in a while, I'll do it. But it's just very rare I'll ever try to plug anything. Okay, so
he says literally surrounded.
Your TikTok username is so original, David Crowley 319. Who could not be bothered to think of a good one?
Actually, I have a story for that one. All right. Now, basically, David Crowley 319 is my regular, my own personal TikTok. But I accidentally posted a video that was for the other channel, my Trucking Skills channel, but it blew up.
David, I would never ever do something like that.
Tom. You're the worst
I know. I was thinking about that. But what really sucked is that I ended up getting like 10,000 subscribers in a week on my regular channel because of that video. So, and I couldn't get anything on my Trucking Skills TikTok channel. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm using my personal channel because that's the only one that I'm actually getting millions of views on. So yeah, anyway.
Has anybody ever pointed out to you there's a real problem with the main name of your YouTube?
Uh-oh.
My Trucking Skills. Because if you remove the first S, My Trucking Kills, it makes more sense for the game.
I love it.
It's like the next version of the game. It's going to be
next
My
level.
Trucking Kills.
My Trucking Kills.
It's going to be just a HGV murder spree.
Like Shark Frenzy.
Actually, the next one will
I
be.
like it.
Actually, come to think of it, while I have you on, as in, like, I was thinking of calling it My European Trucking Skills. Do you think that would work? I want to, but seriously,
No,
because it will be a European version. I was just like, it kind of sounds. I want to have the word. I want to have European in it because you know how like your American Truck Simulator has European Truck Simulator because it's a different ball game altogether. You know.
Why can't you just
So,
have like
what are
My
your thoughts?
Trucking Euro
Why don't you
skills?
just call it GTT?
What?
GTT. Grand Theft
Okay.
Trucking.
I'll try it out. I'm sure I can try the name out on different countries. But I will get rid of my what looks like a NASCAR. But I will leave this on, which really makes
it
looks pretty professional.
really makes
Yeah.
my cable really crazy.
No, it's
a
the
green.
white enhances
does,
in
yeah.
your beard. It brings the grey out.
Why
in
is
your
it a green
beard with the-
cable?
It's a green cable, yeah.
Oh, right. I'm trying to work out why he's doing that. I'll be honest, I didn't notice until he moved it up, and I was like, what's going on there? I couldn't work it out.
But anyway,
I was gonna say you should wear a green t-shirt and then your floating head. You'd be like that.
I was thinking of that.
Gandalf does the podcast.
Hilarious.
I like it.
All right. So, but anyway, get our merch. Tom, actually, can you take over with the whole merch thing? Because I never really have this part scripted or whatever.
You think I do? Yeah, go to salmonslap.com to go and buy your t-shirts. There's pillow cushiony things and cups and hats and like just everything, anything you could possibly think of. There is merch coming. We've been working with another. Well, I'm talking with Ashley Hale about a new t-shirt idea, which I am loving. I'm very excited about that one there. So,
is there a guests one
lots
yet?
There's quite a few
yeah,
come up,
you
isn't
can
there?
go buy
There's a couple we've got planned for.
David's now in the Bahamas.
Actually,
yeah.
I'm in St. Martin. That's actually the picture I took from the airplane. And that was like
Picture?
the only picture
So if
I
you're on
took.
YouTube, you also get.
What, for the whole
You're also
thing? That
going to
was
get
the only one you
David's
took.
screenshots of his holiday throughout the podcast.
Random pictures here
You're
and
like-
there. But
You like that old person that's gone on holiday, and but now you've got a genuine audience you can actually show
Just
your
keep
holiday
changing
snaps
them.
to. And this is a stud taking it, and this is getting ice cream. Why got vanilla?
What's actually happened is mistakenly he's clicked slideshow instead of single photo, so we're now going to see everything on his phone.
Oh, I hope not.
Oh my word!
I know.
you could make that happen.
This is going to be an X-rated
Definitely be monetized.
podcast.
Anyway.
Oh,
Right? Shall we start? We're like 15
Oh my
minutes
God, are
into
we?
the
Oh my
podcast.
goodness.
We've not actually got anywhere
We need to
yet.
learn about Pete.
Right, Pete, talk to us. Tell us about you. How did you get into trucking?
it was when I got into trucking. It was kind of a bit of a mistake, actually.
Why is it? Just very quickly, how is it? I genuinely thought that when we started doing this, we were going to be hearing like all these exciting stories. It has been. There was a flood. I needed the money. I needed to get away from children. Everyone's has been like, I was getting
The best
away
one was
from
Gemma's.
something.
That was amazing.
Right.
So there's a
Yeah.
big difference between the fantasy world of all these great, expansive stories and the reality
I think you
of
should give us
life.
the exciting fantasy story.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
Yeah, I think we should start doing that.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
I
give
kinda
you an
wanna hear that,
exciting
but-
fantasy story.
Absolutely.
I was investigating drug dealing in the
Much
Amazon
better.
River, okay, and I came across a big stash. I needed to be able to drive it out to get rid of it and dispose of it in a
Allegedly.
legal method. So I went off, flew back to the UK, took my HGV license, flew back, and then took
Much
it out.
better.
How's that sound? Is that glamorous enough? Is that Tom Cruise enough?
I believed it. I believed
Very
it. Yeah.
convincing.
So what was the actual story, though?
The actual story, it's kind of a bit boring, actually. I was working with a company who we needed an extra HGV driver. I've always been adept at driving larger vehicles, driven tractors and all sorts from a very early age. I'd driven Arctics around the yards, around the farms and what have you. And it was, I suppose, time to go and do it legally. So
That
I
makes
just went and
sense.
took my licenses. I did it all in a week.
Yeah.
I did the theory, did the hazard perception, did the medical in the first week, took class 2 on week 2, and did class 1 the 4 days after.
Nice.
And I came out with, so the first test on my class 2, I think I had 3 minors, and so that's minor faults, David, if you don't have minors over there when you do your driving test. So you have major faults or minor faults. Minor fault could be you forgot to look in the mirror
hesitation, all
for
sorts, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah.
percentage time. So yeah, a major fault
Yeah.
is you
Undue
God,
run over
hesitation,
Tom.
as we call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So major fault is when you
I
run
failed my
somebody
class
Okay,
2
over
fine.
or-
twice.
Oh, really?
I can believe
Twice,
that.
yeah.
I can
How?
believe it.
Yeah.
He lost points by banging his
Um,
head when he got into the
Yeah,
truck.
it's too tall.
The first time I put the first time, because I was working at Travis Perkins as a yard. I put two. I basically, because I'd had a couple of the guys tell me that they passed the class 2 the first time and they had no issues and
pressure.
stuff like that. And there was a kind of like there was a lot of pressure there, and I put so much pressure on myself that I went into it and I messed it up.
I've got a really good question for David in this, though. When
Go on.
we do our test over here, we have to show something called good progression. So that's when you're moving down the road, you have to show that you're getting on with it where you can. So if you're too slow, so I got a minor fault. The only one I got in my class 1 test was when I was driving through town and I was going a little bit too slowly, and the instructor penalised me for that. So instead of doing 30 miles an hour, I was doing, say, 18 miles an hour because I was
Not
obviously
confident,
nervous from doing a test and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So over there, how's the testing work? Do you get hammered for that kind of stuff? Or
I imagine you
is it
do. The
literally
thing
they
is,
throw a
every
piece of
state,
paper at you and a set of keys and...
every state is different, which kind of sucks. You know, I feel like every state is like a different country with the size of them. But like I was a Washington State resident, but I did my tests in Oregon, and basically there might have been like 20 of us, and there was 2 of us that were from Washington, and the rest were from Oregon. Now, the Oregon guys, when they were doing their their pre-trip and stuff, they had to memorize everything. We didn't have to memorize it. All right. Now, this is going back in 2002, I think. All right. So things change all the time. Now, our backing just required us to back up, just show that we could back up. There wasn't any space to back up into anything. But then I think the Oregon residents, they had to do a bunch of other ones, you know. But like that one back that I did have to do, I forgot how to back up. Now I aced all the backing in the school, but I literally forgot. Well, because the reason is I never backed up a small trailer. All right, they had us backing up big trailers, but the small trailer wasn't reacting. I was trying to do exactly what I would normally do.
before,
Yeah,
have
we
you?
did this topic, didn't
What?
we?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you said that, yeah, and you said that they'd switch you to for the test. You didn't get the same trailer or the same vehicle that you'd been learning with, which seems crazy to me.
Yeah,
because
that's just the way it was.
Because by that point, you're used to it, aren't you?
Yeah, well, they basically just gave us the minimum trailer length for the test, because driving through the town was easy. It's like now, coming out of the yard, I always took it wide. Like I took it extra wide because we had a big trailer. But during the test, I had a small one, so I got dinged for taking it too wide because I didn't need to, you know. And wow, this is very hard to even talk, because right now I think Pete's actually trying to kill. I think you got it, dude. What are you trying to do there?
What is happening right now?
It's fighting something off.
I've got a fly flying around in the car and it's doing my head in, because all I can hear is... So I
Sir,
found
so
something
yeah.
to get it with,
Right.
and that's why my mic
Killed
was
it.
off, so you couldn't hear it. If you want
No,
to
no,
hear
you're
the
right.
fair
You crack
enough.
on.
you can
No,
hear it.
we'll add in sound effects later. David, sorry, go on, mate.
Yeah, no, but that was it. It was just I got dinged for making a turn too wide. I never went slow, but whatever. That was just me. But a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people fail because they go too slow because you are a hindrance or whatever you want to call it. You are, dangerous if you're going too
Yeah.
slow. So yeah, you'll get dinged for that. But I honestly, it's been so long ago. I barely remember what my kids look like at that age. Never mind remembering what my test was like.
Smaller and cuter. That's the way it always is.
Yeah.
When I did my test, we had to do it in a manual. You didn't have a choice to do it in an auto. Whereas now I've discovered you're allowed to do them in an automatic and you get a manual license at the same time.
Oh, really? Because that's not the way it is over here. Yeah.
bonkers.
If you in our trucks,
So-
you have to have done it in a manual to get both.
Yeah, I did mine in an auto.
So I was talking with my Canadian friend, and I was automatic as well with mine. I was talking with my Canadian friend, and he's going for his what we would call a Class 1, it's basically an articulated vehicle. And obviously each, it's not a state. What is it? Is it Providence? What is it there? What's their version of a state up there?
A place.
I can't think, but
It's a
whatever
place.
it is.
Province.
Yeah.
Their place. Can you tell we don't have producer this week?
It's a province, isn't it? Isn't it a
We'll go with
province?
that.
Province, that's it. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. So what he was saying is he's having to make a decision on whether he's going to do an automatic license or a manual license. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he says, well, if you learn in an automatic, you're only allowed to drive automatics. I was like, right, that makes sense. Well, no, that part there, that makes sense. Learning an automatic, you can't drive a manual because you've not learned on the manual.
Yeah, but you learn in the manual in a car.
I
suppose you got more gears.
Well, so yeah, but they also do it the other way round. So if you learn in a manual, you cannot drive an automatic.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
It's bonkers.
Canada.
But like auto's
Absolutely
easy.
bonkers.
You just sit there and
It's
put your foot down.
yes. Yeah, but I know, but they're not cross compatible. Basically, I feel like it's a bit more than just
Do you
that.
know
But
there's different degrees, Chloe, between flat to the floor and no throttle, don't you? You know there's actually
you've got
a
your
variation in the
automatic
middle.
braking system. It's fine. You test your brakes. Don't worry about that bit.
Yeah, well, Tom hasn't discovered flat to the floor yet. We discovered
you were the
this
second
week.
last. You're the second last that said about that this week. Yeah, you can just use the AEBS for the
It
corners.
does it for you.
The first time I got into an automatic car, I actually I sat there for 15 minutes. I couldn't figure out how to do it. Like I knew you were supposed to put it into drive, but it wouldn't go in. But what I didn't know is that you're supposed to have your foot in the brake. So that was my only fault. And basically, once you have your foot in the brake, then you can go onto anything. But
I've gone for
15
ultimate
minutes, I tried figuring it out.
Auto.
Oh, look at you.
I
need an auto. I seriously can't drive my car. That's terrible.
Well, I had to buy an auto last year when I went to have my knee operation because my left knee died.
Oh, so
I had
you
it
did,
repaired,
right?
but
Yeah,
it
when you
meant
missed a
I
robotic.
couldn't use a clutch. So yes, I had scaffolding and bits and pieces attached to my
Got
leg.
out of a skip for you.
But after
Oh,
2 weeks, I was allowed, and believe it or not, it was written into the doctor's notes that I was allowed to drive an automatic, but I was not allowed to drive a manual. So long as I could effectively get in and out of the
You can still
vehicle,
drive.
and I
You were
could,
okay,
and I
basically.
didn't have a clutch,
Yeah.
I could
Makes
drive.
sense.
But yeah, so I had to actually sell my car and buy a new one, which is what I say new to me.
And out of
so-
curiosity, will you be buying? And once you've got rid of that one, when the time comes, are you going to go automatic? again?
electric. No, it'll be electric.
Oh, so
next
is
one
your
will be
next one
electric.
is going to be electric?
Yeah,
It'll drive itself, a
electrics
Tesla,
don't
won't
have
it?
gears. They don't. Well, the problem is that as we're seeing with all the fuel price raises and everything else, it's it's illogical now if you're buying a vehicle with the ranges getting so much better on electric vehicles. I mean, is it Suzuki? No, not Suzuki. MG have just brought out that new electric car.
MG?
Really?
Yeah, it's been
Wait.
brought out. And
MG's
it
back.
is- I've been in one. I've got a friend who's bought one, and it's one of the nicest electronic cars I've ever seen. And it's about a third of the price of a Tesla. And it's got a massive range on it. And he's paying less per
Really?
month than I'm paying for this. So why would I buy?
What? I mean, the most mind-blowing part of that is the fact that MG is making
Especially
cars again. I
electric.
thought they'd gone bankrupt.
No, they had, but the brand name had been bought by Chinese or Japanese company. It's a Far Eastern
Okay.
country. A corporation over there has bought the rights to MG's badges and branding and all that kind of stuff.
Didn't know the
it
reputation
up.
MG had
They've
before
completely
they bought
remodeled it though. It's electric now.
Yeah, it's good. They're now they are now a really good purchase
Okay.
and a shrewd purchase as well.
Good to know.
Because he's got his on one of these deals where every 3 years they give him a brand new one, and he pays the same amount of
like
money.
a car show now.
Yeah, where has all
Probably,
this
yeah,
come
yeah,
from?
yeah.
So
We've not even
We're,
started.
we're 30 minutes in. We've not even
Oh.
started the podcast yet.
gone off
We are
massively.
not doing well. Should we at least get a topic in here, David? Let's have your topic. Let's hear what's let's hear what you.
All right. Okay. Well, I was going to bring up what was it like for you guys when you first started truck driving? You know, like did you struggle during your test? We already know Tom failed twice.
Wow. I should have listened to your topic before I did this. I have.
Yeah.
Should we just start the podcast again at this point? I feel
All
like
right. Okay.
I have gone.
So, what is the situation?
I have done a terrible job.
All right. Well, hold on. It's a little bit more than
Normal.
what we talked about. What situation have you gotten yourself into at the very start? You know, where you just struggled like crazy, where it was embarrassing, and like because
Are we talking test or post test?
When you're out on your own.
Post test. You're on your own. You're on your own. You're driving. You're getting lost. You're struggling and all that kind of stuff. Like, do you have one? Like, I remember I was delivering to somewhere in Utah, and they were all angled back parking, I think it was, but it was too tight, and I had to have somebody. One of my own. There was a lot of company drivers. There was a lot of the same company working there or whatever, right? So I like, hey, dude, I can't get in here. Do you mind taking over? And he took over. It took him a while, but you know what I mean? It's like, I wasn't too embarrassed. I was like, I'm just glad that I didn't hit
Yeah.
anything. You know what I mean? So,
So
yeah.
I don't have anything like that, but I do have. Okay, so I've got a couple of examples of. There's. I was on. If to be honest, you might know Nash Road, Peter, but some drivers will know Nash Road in Manchester. Some won't. It's a bad road, and I'd got down there in my walking floor, so like a full Arctic, and I needed to get turned, and I was like, oh, I'll just jackknife it. I'll just jackknife and I'll bring it round, and
Like a U-turn?
I jackknife.
Yeah.
It's basically, yeah, well, kind of like a U-turn, but basically it's where you kind of where you can bring your cab round, so you kind of almost pointing the same direction as the trailer, and you drag it round. So it's what a spinny is what some people call it, but I call it a jackknife. So I did one of them, managed to get it turned round.
How many tires did you burst?
Oh no, I got it turned. I got it turned. I didn't have any weight in it at the time, so it was. I managed to get it turned, and there was tipper drivers there, and there was two stood talking, and the two basically as I came up to them, they said, "Well done. I genuinely did not think you could do that. You only had 6 inches off the back, if that." I drove away and I was thinking, yeah, I'm a boss. Now, now that I've got a little bit more experience and I've gone past that same place, all I can think is, I had no right to turn there. I should have that up.
So
I should have taken that fence
it.
out. Looking back on that now, it was pure You were dumb luck that I got turned there. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how close the back of the trailer was. I had no idea about how how as you turn, the trailer starts going backwards as you do a full turn.
Yeah.
All of that, no, I had no idea. And them guys think I had skill. And if you're listening to this, I did not. It was dumb luck that I got turned there that day.
Oh wow.
I've had a lot of those situations when I started.
I have a few of them ones where I really should not have. I should have f***ed up on that day, but I didn't. So, and I think that's a lot of it. There's a luck to it. It just turns out I'm quite lucky.
I feel like most drivers are lucky to be where they are right now. I know I'm lucky to be where I am because if I didn't have luck on my side, I wouldn't be driving. You know, there was definitely in my first year, so many situations where I probably should have died. Thank God somebody else was paying attention. You know?
Wow.
But you know, but I learned from those mistakes, and I'm here to talk about them
and share your wisdom.
Those people who watch Except for Access, they're like, "Oh, he's so professional the way he does it.
Are
He explains everything on the podcast." Me, David, all of you, we're all like, "Yeah, I can't believe that happened. I
Chloe,
genuinely
have you
stunned
not
about that."
noticed all the clever
Oh god,
editing
yeah. There's
that
so much
Except for
editing in that
Access
thing.
does. So when it's,
Just to make himself look
it's
professional.
like editing king.
No, to try.
2 weeks after I took my Class 1 test, there's two parts to this. The first part was I was driving a breast screening unit. Do you
like
know
NHS
these
sort of thing,
trailers?
yeah.
For the NHS.
Yeah.
It was an X breast screening unit, so it's with a single axle. It's full length, but a single axle right at the very back. Now, for anybody who doesn't know what that entails, basically, if you go onto roundabout,
it's like an American trailer. It's like an American trailer, basically.
But if
in
anybody
England,
goes onto a
bad
UK,
times.
anybody goes onto a UK roundabout with you, you will kill them. Basically, they have to be either behind you or in front of you. If they're to either side, you're going to take them out. So I got stuck on a roundabout because I got a van jammed in the sort of gap between the tractor unit and the trailer. And there was no way for him to get out and no way for me to get out because that car's on the other side. That was a bit embarrassing, and that was my fault because I'd not basically killed the two lanes going into the roundabout.
Taking up the space.
So I got cars trying to get around me. It was absolute nightmare. And then but that wasn't the most embarrassing. The most embarrassing was at the Eurotunnel the same week. I was taking a horse box down to Spain, and I went to go and get on the Eurotunnel and missed.
Missed?
So
or like drove off the edge of
it? No, not drove off the edge.
You full Leroy Jenkins. Leroy Jenkins, just straight off. Straight off, absolutely just gone.
When I went to get on, you've got to you drive over the bed and then you straighten up to get yourself in, as it were. And I failed miserably because the trailer didn't follow the tractor unit as I was expecting it to. So I ended up having to shunt on the train. And you've got all these express HGV drivers who've been doing it for years, who do it without, like, one eye closed tight with their hands tied behind the back kind of thing. And there's Dopey here trying to get in, feeling like a right dick as I'm shunting back and forth. Anyway, got in, got the truck parked, walked through to the lounge, and I got a round of applause for how shit my driving was. That was how bad this was.
Oh no!
Yes, I died. It was possibly the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me. That.
How long ago was this? After you became a driver?
This was the second week after I became a driver.
Wow,
Gotcha.
So it's quite early on.
Okay, come on.
So.
Mistakes happen.
Yeah, very early on. And then I had to, not only had I only been driving Arctics for 2 weeks, I then had to swap to the other side of the road, driving a right-hand drive on the wrong side of the road on my way down to Spain. That was a challenge.
But I'm sure if you look where you came in, because I'm sure people have twatted it as they've gone in.
Isn't that sort of corner, is it?
Yeah, probably.
I-
To be honest with you,
Well-
I was in such a panic fit to try and get myself in without destroying the train, the truck, or anything else.
Yeah, but
don't-
that is my point. That the fact that you actually took the time, and even though you couldn't, you still took that time. Whereas you do see some people and they can't do it, and they just rag it. They just go and just boot it down, and the next thing you see, like you see it where and you'll be going. You see a lot of the big RDCs where they've got like the super high curbs, and on the super high curbs you can see where trailers have hit it, and not even just once, like numerous times, over and over and over again they've hit it, and you're thinking, well,
Did you not
if
learn
you're not-
from this?
if,
Yeah.
You know, surely you must. Yeah,
Maybe they just use it as a guide.
I mean-
Right, there it is. Just keep following it through.
Yes.
No.
You don't
when
need
you're
wheel
in the right
nuts.
place because you felt the bump of the fuel tank off the bottom of the curb. Yes, I'm
Exactly.
You
there.
laugh, but when you're in the skip lorry, so skip
Right.
lorry, I've never, obviously, because class 1 wagon drag is slightly different in the skip lorry, so I've never had too much of an issue just learning and getting on with it. It's more the skips that I found hard. So like when I first started, it would take like a good hour to do a skip exchange, just because it's so high up. There's so much to take on board. Yeah, that's
And how long would it take you now?
probably about 5 minutes. So
Okay,
an hour's
all right,
quite
cool.
a long time, really. And I got to the point where I was literally crying half the time. My first
Oh,
3
no.
months was crying, like, why have I done this? Literally. But because obviously I did it through the company, I had to stick it out. I had no choice.
At least you were getting paid
It's-
hourly,
yeah,
so
exactly.
whatever.
It's what it is, and you got to learn somehow.
It's funny. I've been speaking to someone this week about anxiety within trucking and all of that kind of thing, and I think I've trained someone up, like a brand new fresh starter as and I think this
I was
is
going to
actually
say,
your
this sounds
topic
very
you've got.
familiar.
So yeah. Well, we'll
We'll kind of slowly move over to it. Yeah, why not?
We'll use it as quite a nice. We'll use it
Yeah,
as a
go
nice
on, we'll do
segue
it.
to your topic. But I've actually had a new starter, and I had all of that. I can't do this. Why have I gone into
Yeah.
trucking? I've made a mistake. I look at how fast all these people do it. Look
Yeah.
at how quickly they reverse into it. And what I have to say to them, and I've said this to a few people now, you are not special. You are not a snowflake. You are not unique. You are the same as every single person who's come into trucking. Everyone has that whole thing. Everyone has that week
Yeah.
when they're not for long started where they go, I can't do
Yeah.
this. I shouldn't have done that. I'm not cut out to be a truck driver. I'm not cut out to be in this industry. I'm not able to do this. I'm gonna get too panicky. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, it
no.
all goes through
You're
your
not
head.
special. Get over yourself. Crack on. You'll be fine. You'll be
You
fine.
always start getting used to it, and then
Sorry, you know what beef I have? Not with the statement, but what people who can't back up. All right. Now, I feel that when people who are going over the road and they might back up once every 2 days or whatever, right? And then when they do back up, they struggle.
Yeah.
All right. How about you go into a parking lot, into a truck stop, and you just keep backing up all day or for like an hour?
I don't know.
Just practice.
See, I just
Practice.
My issue with
You know
that,
what I mean?
David. My issue with that is there's obviously a fuel cost. Realistically, someone needs to make some kind of game that they could play on their phone, say, and practice like reversing skills.
Well, who would ever make a game like that? You know what I mean? It's just that just doesn't make any sense why people would do that. You know? So like, well, hold on.
David,
There's this company.
You can pay me later, lad.
There's this company called My Trucking Skills. Maybe you can actually learn how to back with them. I don't know. But anyway,
I thought we'd
yeah.
renamed it.
My trucking kills.
But anyway, that's
Congratulations!
what I
This
would do with
entire
all...
podcast is a sponsored podcast.
Oh boy, how much is this going to cost me? But I would tell all my students, and I've had lots of students, yes, okay, there is a fuel cost and all that kind of thing, but what costs more is hitting something.
yeah.
All right, hey, it's like just do it
Yeah.
and ask for forgiveness later. You know, okay, don't ask your company if you can do it, because if they say no, you kind of know you can't do it. All right, just I like to live that way in a way of like ask for permission. Sorry, don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness.
So
But especially when it comes to learning,
Yeah.
because you're trying to represent the company. But seriously, it frustrates me. You're like, oh, I only back up once a week. That's your fault.
yeah, you should try it
All right?
more. Yeah.
Go to
yeah.
go to the back of a truck stop and just maneuver, just understand it. And it pisses me off when people don't do that. And then they're like, hey, we all start off. Well, yeah, you can, but you can go ahead and speed up that learning curve if you
So
want
in all
to,
fairness,
right? Anyway, that's just my
that,
beef.
No, that to be fair, that leads up to my topic that I was going to go with. Thank you. So basically, this week, I have been training up a brand new driver on Class 1 Arctics. So my thing was going to be that skips, wagon drag, rows, I can train up. No issue with that whatsoever. My fact was that I've had technically a week and a half on the Arctics to do it myself back in September, and then all of a sudden I'm training a brand new driver this week, just gone. So that was quite early on, quite daunting for me. But what we have been doing is, like you say, we've been going to our sort of truck area where we've got trailers and things, and we've been practicing reversing. Partly for me.
But see, okay, but you
Yeah.
said this during the week, the fact that you felt with only having 2 weeks on the Arctic that you kind of didn't feel
not at all,
qualified to
no.
actually teach it. But I will contend that with the fact that a wagon drag is harder. That
is harder.
a fact.
No.
It is a fact that a wagon
Well,
drag
You need more room.
is definitely
Yeah,
harder.
you need more room. You can't
Yeah, you need
jackknife it the
and
same. Yeah.
there's
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Can I
Oh,
just
yeah.
point out that a wagon and drag is when you're learning to reverse a wagon and drag, you could do it as if you were in a car and trailer because
It's your point of pivot is
the
in the middle.
bending
Yeah.
point is at the same. The point of the pivot is the middle, so you can actually practice reversing with a large car and trailer.
To be fair,
or a
car
large
and trailer
van
probably
trailer.
worse because it's
Whereas
little.
with an Arctic,
Yeah.
exactly, so you're going to react better and be able to prejudge what your trailer's doing far quicker.
It's when you're chasing the when you've got it turned and you need to chase the tractor unit back round and get it back in line with the trailer. That's it makes it so much harder because the one thing that I was doing it I can't think where I was back in the trailer and I started chasing it around like I would do in an Arctic, and then next thing I'm thinking, me, that wall's coming up in me fast like because
Was that the
obviously,
wagon drag? Was it? Or yeah, it's completely.
That was the wagon
different.
drag, yeah. So I mean, I would say it is. I'd say yeah. I mean, realistically, if you could do a
But
wagon
my
drag,
main
you could do
concern was that I
Arctic.
thought, well, I could do
Yeah.
Arctic with someone who knows what they're doing because I can just be there if they need me. But it was more the fact that she's literally had it for a month and she's not even had a class 2 before that. She got that a month before. So this is brand new driver effectively. And I mean, she is the boss's daughter, so we could take
Yeah.
time to do extra stuff and practice in the yard and things. But still, it felt like such a big thing to take on. Plus, it's the boss's daughter. If I got it wrong, I'm in the bollocks, man. What is David doing?
I'm not doing anything. I'm
I
just
was
listening to you very.
Yeah,
very...
clearly.
I didn't know that was
I
going
did
to do
think,
that.
should I? I was wondering what's going on there. I saw
thought
something
you were
coming
going
from the
something, yeah.
background.
You weren't supposed to acknowledge that. All right. I know it was a distraction. I'm so sorry. My bad.
It was worth it for the face.
What? But okay. But how has
So,
how has
do you know what? It's
training
gone actually very well. And partly because she's a natural driver. She's taken it on board. All right, sometimes it may take a bit more shunts, but you're not hitting anything. Shunt a few more times and you're still getting in the same place, in the same where you need to be, basically. So in all fairness, the training has actually gone very well. I can't fault that. And I think that's more down to her being quite capable of that. I think if she was maybe a bit more nervous and struggled, I might have struggled a bit more.
I think you probably give yourself a bit of a disservice there. You are a very capable driver, and I think your knowledge. I think having someone that is calm,
I think that does make a difference.
Because
Well, now that she's going to get fired, being the boss's daughter, she can kind of get away with a lot more.
Yeah, it's true actually. Well, but so I'm not going to mention her name. But I had someone teaching me, and this could have been Pickering's, it could have been Travis
Allegedly.
Perkins. I'm not going to kind of it could be either one, allegedly. But I had someone teaching me teach me what to do, and they were very. They were one of these people who get stressed
Oh
out
yeah,
very
that's the
quickly,
worst.
and they were getting stressed out at everything that was going on around them, and that had the knock on effect that it was then stressing me out
Yeah, you're feeling more
significantly,
pressure. Yeah.
and it made me then worse at the crane, and it
Well, the
was
thing is, if you're under pressure, you're not going to
it
perform, are
wasn't a
you, or
nice
learn really?
experience.
Because you're just constantly panicking about getting done.
Pete, what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I've been having slight technical glitches from sitting in a industrial estate somewhere in the middle of Staffordshire, blaming Tom for all my grievances at Tom's door. No, my thoughts on this are really clear. I think a wagon and drag is a complicated bit of kit to drive. You have to be aware of tail swing and a lot of things you don't necessarily look out for when you're driving an Arctic. As to training, I think no company gives enough training for new drivers. I've always said that. I genuinely think new drivers should have at least a week of tuition.
It's something that we've said continuously since this podcast started, that trainees do not get the assistance that they need. That's a fact.
But also, I think there is a certain amount. I mean, everything that I know from driving trucks is experience based. Everything I learned to my test, with the exception of maybe how to start a truck when the thing's jammed in gear and you've got no air to get it out of gear, and the clutch is jammed solid, etc. I learned that bit during my test because the trucks were all of an age where you had to know how to do that. But everything I've learned is through experience, and I've broken stuff, I've damaged
Been
it.
there.
I remember the first time I hooked up a trailer on a slope.
Oh,
and I got it
yes.
wrong, and I bent the pull bar on the fifth wheel, because the trailer slid down the fifth wheel and caught the release bar and bent it. And I then had to spend an hour with the minimal tools I had in the truck mending it. But because it was so painful and irritating, because I wanted to get on to actually repair my truck, I never made that mistake again. So I know that if a trailer's on a slope, I will come at it from downhill so that it can't slide off the fifth wheel. But nobody taught me that. I had to find it out the hard way. Jackknifing, as Tom was talking about, when you've got the cab underneath the trailer, realizing that the trailer, one side of the trailer is actually going to go backwards, even though you're still driving forwards. Nobody told me about that. I had to learn that one. And also not jackknifing, Tom, when you've got a full load on, because you pop tires off
I have
the rims.
looked for that
You're
on
fully
YouTube. I have
weighted.
never. I feel like on YouTube they would have that, but I've never seen a trailer's tire pop. You know, like I just feel like have you ever seen that, Pete? Oh,
I've
you've actually it's
done
actually
it.
popped.
I've actually
Okay, because
done
no one's ever said to me. I thought it was a rumor
Funnily
or
enough,
a myth.
I took a leaf out of Except for Access and I edited it
what?
out, so you'll
Oh,
never see
gotcha.
the footage.
So yeah, I think I've made a good video of that.
No, I wasn't recording at the time, but I did learn that when you're turning around, especially if you're jackknifing, looking out for manhole covers. Simple thing like that, which you can actually pull a manhole cover up out the ground with the motion of the tires if you're not paying attention. Oh yeah. Yeah, it is possible. What else? Chains. Learning how to use chains effectively and properly without losing bits of your fingers and stuff like that.
What would you be using the chains for? Are you talking about putting them on tires or
no? So like
what?
to strap
No,
things
that's
down.
talking about like chaining stuff down.
Oh, gotcha.
Chains are one of the few things in trucking that genuinely makes me nervous. Genuinely makes me nervous. Yeah, I whenever I'm using chains, and I'm sure you can both test this, I am very consciously aware of how much pressure and how much tension is going through them. And whereas I think, like, if most things with with trucking. I don't know, like unless you get hit by something or you get. I mean, you can get crushed by stuff.
Yeah.
That's some of that. Whereas, like chains, it will they will
there's been a few
decapitate
people
you,
down here that have died.
and
with
they will
that.
do it without.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing with chains, there's so many advantages to chains over straps, and there are a few disadvantages. One of the main advantages of them is once they're on, and if they're not moving, they're not bouncing, they are tight. Whereas a strap will flap in the wind and what have you, it may still be rock solid tight, but you can't tell without getting out to check it. If you're driving down the road and you can see a chain flapping, you've got to stop.
There's that thing where people say if you twist a strap, it makes it.
Yeah, I have heard that. I'd agree with that. I very rarely use straps, to be fair, of the skips.
So it's actually.
It's not like the old baler twine, boy, where the strands are twisted together to make them stronger. These are a weave.
It's not
and what
true.
happens is the weave, instead of sitting, instead of sitting like that, it is true.
It's not. There's a guy on YouTube that actually sat and he did tests because he was like, he'd heard this myth before that if there's a twist in it, it'll make it weaker. And so he actually sat and he did loads of tests on each one, and he twisted it like, I think he twisted it like 4 times, and it was absolutely fine.
Is it not over a period of time?
It's only when you twist it. No, it's not. It's basically it's only when you twisted it loads, as in like it was pretty much on top of each other. That's when it actually started causing damage to itself. But when you're on.
I was always told it was to do with the weave in the strap.
I was told the same thing as well.
Rubbing against
the same thing as well. Turns out it's actually a bit
Fact
of an overlook.
for
But on walking floors,
I know, right?
Whoa! Did we actually?
It is
just
from
come
Tom,
out with
so I don't know.
real piece of information on this podcast?
The first time.
I'm going on strike.
There's a first for everything.
No, I'm going on strike. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Sorry. Bye.
Oh, and he's gone.
How very dare you! I didn't come on this podcast to give proper genuine advice.
Tom, what were you saying?
Have you got a point on this one, David?
What idea was that?
Have you ever saran wrapped or cling filmed a pallet of product? Have you ever done that, guys?
No.
Where basically, you're just keeping all the product together. Okay. Well, it kind of brings up when you're talking about the whole twisting of the strap. When you're wrapping the saran wrap around the pallet of product, it's best to twist it. Just give it one twist and then keep going, and then another twist, and then another twist. You know what I mean? Because that particular when you put the twist on it, because it's like this. Okay, it's like 1.5 feet, 2 feet, or whatever long. All right, and it makes.
We're not living in one of your lovely fantasies here, David, are we? I know what some people are like when it comes to shrink wrap.
Thanks, Pete.
I will say
when I was latex sort of.
When I was at Travis Perkins, I used to shrink wrap like a variety of things.
What, for pranks?
I don't know. There was
bananas.
No. There was something very satisfying about shrink wrapping a pallet properly and having it so it just looked like. And I'd shrink wrap these pallets and they would be perfect. And then you'd get on site and you'd lower it with your crane. And the guy just come with his stone knife and just cut it.
Bastard.
I sat there. I mean, you could have admired how nice and pretty it was for a second, just a second.
Have you ever shrink wrapped any of your colleagues or anything like that? Because that's a very satisfying game.
Yeah, I've clean filmed a car.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like the yard apprentice
I've done it with silage
or anything
wrap.
like that. They're very satisfying to shrink
like the
wrap
proper
because
silage
they take
wrap.
real
Yeah,
offence.
done that one. That was good fun.
That's a good effort. Yeah.
David's either thinking I haven't or I have, but I can't say anything. I don't know which it is. I've never done that.
To declare anything.
It's illegal and I can't say anything. I'm guessing the additional silence is it was illegal and he can't say anything about it.
Looks super guilty.
Right.
It was.
Do you have any
cardboard
points?
Packages
Any
about
more
that
points on that
size.
there, David?
No,
I
that was it. It was just it was just that it made it stronger. Is all. The twist actually made it stronger.
going back to
That's
chains.
and that's
Have
it.
you
Yeah.
ever
Well,
managed to break a chain tensioner, or is it just me and my superpowers? I just touched
Not
it
by
once and it
tightening
just snapped
up.
in half.
I've broken one.
Yeah, I was super strong.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
Very impressive.
Of
Good.
course.
Do we call you
100%.
Wonder Woman from now on?
No one wants to
Are
see
you going to
that.
wear the outfit? If we call you Wonder Woman from now on,
No,
will
no
you
one
wear
wants to
the
see that, Pete.
will you wear the outfit? I've never broken one that way. I've done something stupid where I've left it hanging on the side of the
Oh, no.
trailer and forgotten to pick it up, and then driven off down the road, and it's pinged off that way,
Oh,
and it was
dear.
not in a usable state afterwards. But that was when you get those days, and everybody will know this, it's hooning it down with rain. It's literally monsoon season. It's cold, it's windy, it's wet. You're not really, you've got the rain sitting
Oh,
across
yeah,
the top
yeah,
of your eyebrows and in the sort of Neanderthal, and it sort of comes down and
Just trying to get
you
on
can
with
feel
it.
it's
Yeah.
saturated everything, and you're rushing around because you want to get back in the cab to get dried out, and you just forget one thing, and for me
Oh,
that was
dear.
a tensioner. Sorry. Yeah.
I think on that note, we're gonna let Peter go and kill the fly, which I was under the impression it
Yeah, I'm
was
pretty
dead.
sure you should have killed it by now.
But apparently no.
I
It
missed.
it still needs killing. Has anyone got anything that they want to plug? David, you
You've
don't
done
get
it
a turn
way
this
too
time.
much.
You've plugged enough this week.
That's your monthly
Hey,
plug.
I don't know. For the people who actually were listening, it is my
I'm going to
trucking
do
skills. Just Google it and you'll find a bunch of stuff. But yeah, anyway.
Oh,
Chloe?
I've got Skip Chick
I'm-
Southwest or SW Skips on YouTube.
I am going to be relaunching Behind and Beyond the Wheel as of next week. I know I've had a bit of a sabbatical and I've taken time away from it. I will be coming back to doing on the YouTube and Instagram, and there'll be a catch up of the
Way.
last 6 weeks. An update, including my trip to Wembley in the truck, where we did the stage for the boxing, which was amazing. So there's a hilarious amount of footage of my CB aerial whipping the bottom of Wembley arena as I drove around
Something
the
just
inside.
has just occurred to
Yes.
me. Do you know when we said at the beginning of the podcast that Peter didn't get to introduce himself the last time? And we talked about that for a while. I don't think we actually introduced him
We mentioned his
Yeah, we
name.
said his name.
by name. Did we? Have we?
We might have
Did we?
fudged it up a little bit.
I don't know.
You said the name. You don't say where I'm from again every
Shh, we are
time.
talking to you. Right. So basically, you got a YouTube channel. Yeah, big whoop. Obviously, I've got a YouTube channel, except for Access. Go and check it out if you want to. If you don't. I don't care.
Tom, are we going to do a little drop about upcoming stuff with the channels?
No, he doesn't know.
Okay, that answers that question.
Why?
then.
What have I signed up to something and I don't know about it?
You want to do a collab? You and I were going to do another collab.
Yeah.
He's
And
completely
we were going to do it in the
forgotten.
next couple of months.
We
Exactly.
are.
So
A
we're
lovely
gonna plug that. We're
surprise.
just
Wow. I am
God.
unaware of
This
this.
Let's finish
Right.
this.
Obviously, go to salmonslap.com for your merchandise. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say, anyone else got
No,
any more
let's get
comments?
on with it.
No,
No. Right. Thank you so much for watching.
Where's that fly?
If you haven't
listened.
listened, how did you get this far? But wait 1 second, I messed this up. What was it again? Thank you so much
Well,
for listening.
like,
If
you
you
messed
haven't
up
listened,
your,
how did you get this far? But we shall
vlog.
see you next time. There we go. Shh, it's fine. Just everyone say bye.
Bye.
Everyone say bye. It's fine.
bye,
Goodbye,
guys.
goodbye.
Bye.